Happy Wednesday night, everybody. It's about 7 p.m. West Coast time on Wednesday, February 27th. Daily Hawk. Haven't done one of these in a couple days. I'm Hawk. I'm your host. Please enjoy the following news recap. The FBI is investigating Trump EPA claims of fraud. We're losing more prosecutors. So Trump's FBI agents this week questioned an EPA employees regarding a Biden administration grant program for climate and clean energy projects. And Donald Trump and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel want to make that a criminal offense. One prosecutor, one U.S. attorney, assistant U.S. attorney has already resigned again. Because no, I'm not going to sign your bullshit warrant. This is ridiculous. So they're going to try to criminalize every single thing that Joe Biden did during his administration. That's going to be fantastic. Washington Post, a federal judge on Thursday ordered the Office of Personnel Management to rescind directives that initiated mass firings of probationary government workers in several agencies across the government, ruling that the terminations were probably illegal. I talked about this yesterday or the day before. Donald Trump's director of Office of Management and Budget, Russell Vought, co-author of Project 2025. He wrote the chapter on executive power and expanding executive power. He's also a white Christian nationalist. He sent out a directive to every federal department and agency basically saying, we're going to do mass firings between now and March 13th. And more or less was saying we want to get rid of half of the people who work for the executive branch. And today, U.S. District Judge William Alsup ordered the Office of Personnel Management to inform certain federal agencies that it had no authority to order the firings of probationary employees, including in the Defense Department. And he said something along the lines of, in no universe does the Office of Personnel Management have the power to fire people in other departments and agencies. Here's a gross Republican story. Just fucking hate-filled Republican Christians being hate-filled Republican Christians. Over the protests of hundreds of Iowans chanting no hate in our state, Iowa's Republican-dominated legislature voted Thursday to pass a bill removing gender identity as a protected class in the state's Civil Rights Act. Ending 18 years of state law protection for people in Iowa who are transgender. It's just, fuck you. Every Republican who hates trans people, fuck you. On the heels of that, transgender U.S. service members are going to be separated from the United States military by June 25th. All service members diagnosed with gender dysphoria will be discharged by June 25th. That's around 5,000 soldiers. Other soldiers who identify as trans is about another 10,000. So 15,000 Americans who volunteered to join the United States military and serve their country. And we've probably spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars training each one of these soldiers, and we're going to kick them out because they're trans. So see my last comment for this story as well. Donald Trump's kryptonite. This is from Charlie Cook, one of my favorite writers. More than the border or the chaos of the Afghanistan pullout, it was the spike in inflation in 2021 and 22. After the American Rescue Act funds hit bank accounts that cost Democrats the presidency. Demand surged, supply chains problems worsened, and of course the Fed responded by hiking interest rates, which made everything from car loans to home equity lines more expensive. It all added up to a cumulative 20% surge in the cost of living. The misplaced expectation among Trump supporters that he will bring down prices is politically problematic by itself, apart from the fact that it's virtually impossible to do in the absence of a depression. And frankly, it's like, you don't want prices to drop, because then you've got deflation, or at best stagflation, and Trump supporters don't understand even the most basic concepts when it comes to economics or economic policy. The greater downside risk, however, is that prices could rise even further with Trump's tariffs. It's unlikely that such a scenario would cost Republicans the Senate, but it'll cost them the House. And then in 2027 and 2028, Donald Trump will be the lamest of lame ducks. A judge in Washington, D.C. today, U.S. District Judge John Bates, has ordered the Trump administration to produce members of Doge to testify under oath. He ordered Thursday, let's see here, order will allow unions and liberal groups suing to question 4 officials, one from Doge's White House headquarters, one each from the Labor Department, Department of Health, Human Services, and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Those depositions will be capped at 8 hours in total, but they're going to get somebody from Doge under oath. Let's see here. So far, the only insight into Doge's operations inside agencies like Labor, HHS, and CFPB have come from carefully crafted written statements filed in court by Doge allies embedded across the government, and a handful of agency officials who work alongside them. The judge pointed to those statements as a reason to allow the depositions. That's how it works, guys. If you're going to make a statement to a court in written form under oath, the judge will give the other side to question under oath the person who wrote that statement. The judge wrote, it would be strange to permit defendants to submit evidence that addresses critical factual issues and proceed to rule on a preliminary injunction motion without permitting the plaintiffs to explore those factual issues through very limited discovery, depositions. So I wonder if they're going to call big balls and put big balls under oath. For some reason today, the White House assembled a group of far-right influencers, including DC Drano, particularly douchey person from Twitter, Chaya Raichik, creator of the anti-LGBTQ Libs of TikTok social media account, and Pizzagate promoter Mike Cernovich. Man, I haven't heard his name in years. I didn't know that he was even remotely relevant anymore. I thought he had turned into a gorilla. And the group received some documents concerning the prosecution of Jeffrey Epstein. We're going to come back to that in a second. Carolyn, what's her name? Carolyn Levitt, Carolyn Levitt, the White House spokesperson, posted to Twitter, great meeting today with some very influential social media content creators. These folks have larger followings than most mainstream media reporters. The media landscape has changed, and we are fully embracing it here at the Trump White House. And they posted some photos and yada, yada, yada. Somebody from CNN commented, it's all the people that randomly have been put into the For You tab on Twitter. But it's like, so that irritated the media, but it also irritated the MAGA chuds. One Trump ally, Laura Loomer, wrote, it was a photo op. Influencers posed for photos with cheap binders given to them by Pam Bondi, who still doesn't want to explain why she never held Epstein accountable, even though she was Attorney General for the state of Florida the entire time Jeffrey Epstein was assaulting young girls. Pam Bondi was the Attorney General for the state of Florida the entire time that Jeffrey Epstein was doing his thing. And now she's Attorney General. You think she's going to release unredacted copies of the Epstein records, apart from the fact that Donald Trump's name is all over them? And there's a civil war brewing inside MAGA as Trump's base flips out as Pam Bondi is accused of pulling a fast one with the Epstein file. There was one right-wing, one of these influencers who she handed all of them binders with the Epstein documents. And the documents were either already public or redacted from top to bottom. There was no new information whatsoever in there. A bunch of people in Congress freaked out. Glenn Beck conservative radio host. Conservative is a stupid word for these people anymore. There's nothing conservative about him. He posted on Twitter, "Who is subverting the president of the United States? The Epstein files are a total joke. I know Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, and the president. This is not the file. White House tells me that they believe the usual suspects at the FBI and the SDNY has the actual Epstein client list and are refusing to turn it over, all caps. This is an internal civil war, if true." See, what Glenn Beck failed to mention there is that Pam Bondi, our Attorney General, was the Attorney General for the state of Florida the entire time Jeffrey Epstein was doing his thing in Florida and never prosecuted him. Never prosecuted him. I wonder if she got any campaign contributions from him. I already talked about that. Elon Musk is urging retired air traffic control workers to return because he fired too many of them. Yeah, said Musk, there is a shortage of top-notch air traffic controllers. If you have retired but are open to returning to work, please consider doing so. Trump officials are also racing to rehire all the people that they fired who are experts in bird flu. They fired them all, then realized they needed them. Now they're trying to rehire them, and they can't find them because the only contact information they had for those people were their government email addresses, which they shut down and took away access to when they fired those people. So they're trying to rehire them, can't find them. The Department of Government Efficiency is exhibiting nothing if not efficiency. And Donald Trump is confirmed it's reviewing whether to pull almost $600 million in funding for Moderna that Moderna had received during the final days of the Biden administration to continue its work on an mRNA vaccine for bird flu in people. Because why would we need that right now? Why would we need that? So it's estimated that Trump and Musk have fired almost 250,000 federal workers, with about 1 million more to come in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So here's a headline that nobody expected, I'm sure. Jobless claims spike. This, I thought, was a joke. This next article, I swear to God, I thought it was a joke. And I had to Google it and make sure that it was confirmed by multiple news agencies. Newly installed FBI Director Kash Patel, whose proclaimed plans to overhaul the nation's premier law enforcement agency have rattled many within the Bureau, has proposed enhancing the FBI ranks with help from the UFC, the United Fighting Championship, the martial arts entertainment giant whose wealthy CEO Dana White helped boost Donald Trump's re-election. He wants to train FBI agents using UFC fighters. Mike Johnson. Oh, Mike Johnson. So we've all seen the clips from the Republican town halls where Republican members of the House are walking into absolute buzzsaws in front of their own heavily gerrymandered Republican constituents. Mike Johnson said that all of those people who were doing that to Republican members of Congress were Democrats, or they were either Democrats or protesters who had been paid by Democrats. Surprisingly, it will shock you to learn that he has absolutely no evidence of that. Iran has sharply increased its nuclear stockpile of highly enriched uranium in recent weeks. Cool. According to confidential United Nations report, as Tehran has amassed critical raw material for atomic weapons, and they now have enough enriched uranium for 6 nuclear warheads. I'm sure that'll work out fine. So everybody remembers night before last, Tuesday night, when Republicans passed by 2 votes, I think, a non-binding, basically, resolution that is a framework for their budget that they're going to pass within reconciliation. Well, it turns out that's DOA in the Senate. Yeah, that's DOA in the Senate. Senators, Republican senators in the Senate are already shredding it, tearing it to pieces, and saying this is not going to fly, this is not going to work. And so that appears to be dead on arrival. Okay, thank you for joining me tonight and watching this. If you're watching this on TikTok, please click on the link in the link tree in my bio and subscribe to my YouTube page. It's free. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please also subscribe to my YouTube page, which is also still free. Click like, leave a comment, do your thing, whatever, Thanks, everybody. Tomorrow's Friday. It's the weekend. Please, everyone, have a fun and safe weekend. Please stay out of trouble. Please don't get arrested. Try not to end up in a room with Kash Patel. Have a great weekend, everybody.